Hi everyone, welcome folks, welcome back to Karen Vibes. So that's Karen Vibes on YouTube, and you can find me at KRENVIBES, and that's with an exclamation sign. You can find me on YouTube. So welcome. Happy Sunday everyone, happy Sunday. I know probably some of you busy cooking or getting your children's clothes ready for tomorrow morning. In Jamaica, that's what most of us do. Are just chilling out. So whatever you're doing, please join me by listening to my reading. All right, so we're back with our book this week, Minty Alley. So if you've been following me on my page, we started a new book last week, Minty Alley, which is written by C.L.R. James. And it's a book that has a lot of character, as I said before. Very interesting, suspense, intrigue, comedy, drama, sadness. So it is a yard, it's like a tenement yard in Jamaica, in many Caribbean spaces. And everybody rent the room and have a room. And it's just like that play that Oliver did. What's the name of that gentleman that wrote that play that Oliver Samuels acted in? Front Room? No, if it's the name of it must be Front Room. So it's something like that. So everybody has their room setting, and from you have that, you have different characters. The characters come to life, come to play. So this book is something like that, and it's very interesting. There are parts that will make you laugh. There's parts that will make you sad, because I've read this book about 3 times and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I decided that I wanted to share it with you guys. Alright, before I go on any further, I want to tell you guys about this book. Now this book is a new book that's on the market. The name of it, I guess when you do your thing, you'll be able to see properly. This book is a new book that's on the market, and it's written by Ruth Heron. Right? It's written by Ruth Heron. Very good author, and this is an easy to read book. Right? The reason I'm telling you about this book, guys, is that you can actually get this book on Amazon. I think Amazon UK. Yes, it's on Amazon. Just check it out on Amazon. Name of it is the Become Unstuck Guide for the Career Woman Over 40. So if you're a man watching my video and you have a wife or your sister or your cousin, you can buy this book for them or tell them about this book. It's an easy to read book. It's very personal, and it has a lot of tips and stuff in it that you can actually look at and help you to navigate towards your career. It's a very interesting book written by Ruth Heron. Lovely person, lovely lady, and she's also a motivational speaker as well. Well, actually she's a lot of things, a great professional. So please get this book. I have read this book, and it's a great read. It's a great read. So for all of you women out there who want to navigate your career and have that confidence and that boost, to boost your confidence, get this book. Alright, so what I'm going to do, because this book that I'm reading, Minty Alley, is going to take some time for us to finish, I plan to talk about this book every Saturday. So every Saturday evening I'm going to come on and I'm going to go through this book. I'm going to be reading parts of this book every Saturday. So it's a thin book, see, and it's easy to read, but it's very interesting. So women out there, get this book. So I'm going to be going through it every Saturday with you guys. A lot of books that I want to introduce, but this is my first book that I'm going to introduce. So I had the pleasure of getting this book from her, having it signed, right? So It's awesome. It's an awesome book. Get it on Amazon. Just released by Ruth Heron. Very good read. All right. All right, so let's get into it. As I usually say, grab your cool drink, your cup of tea, your coffee, whatever it is. Oh, guys, and listen, I will be introducing my teas will be officially on the market before the end of February. So I'll be introducing them on my page. I actually have a page on Instagram, which is K's Spicy Teas. So these are grassroots Jamaican teas. I have fever grass, which we all know as lemongrass, pimento, bay leaf, and soursop. And these leaves are filled with a lot of health benefits. Right? If you read up on it, you know that these leaves are really good for making lovely tea. So these are teas that I've grown up on, and I just decided to, you know what, why not share something that I love and make a business out of it. So I'm going to be introducing my teas on my page, telling you guys more about it and how you can get it. So those here in Jamaica and overseas. And there are a lot more teas I'll be bringing in on the market. So if you're out there, you're someone out there and you have a dream and there's something that you want to do, don't make anybody stop you and say, oh, well, everybody doing this and everybody doing that. Because that's what I was told. Everybody's making this and everybody doing that. So why not? Don't bother with it. Don't listen to the naysayers. Even if there's 100 people that's making teas, you don't pay that any mind. You do what you have to do, because what you bring to the market. Just as there's another business that I'm trying to get done, and by God's grace, I'm speaking it into being that everything is gonna, get to where I want it to be. But I'm saying this to say that somebody said to me once, when I wanted to do that particular business, they said to me, oh, everybody's doing that, and you're gonna have competition. I said to the person, I'm not in competition with anybody. I know what I bring to the table, and I'm doing my thing. So I'm not competing with anybody. So if you're out there and you want to start something, don't make anybody stop you. If 100 people selling chicken and you want to sell chicken, go ahead. It's how you do your chicken. All right, so enough of that chatter. So today we're going to continue with our book, Minty Alley. Last week I said the introduction was rather long, so I read a bit of it. But as I said, basically, it's a setting in Trinidad, and it just tells you about the life of the Caribbean people and the different characters and stuff in the story. That's what basically the introduction was saying. So Mr. C.L.R. James was just speaking a bit about the characters in his book. Alright, so the name of the book, as again I'll say, the name of the book is Minty Alley, written by, hold on. I tell you, I think when you flip your camera, you'll be able to see it. Anyway, Minty Alley, that's the name of the book, and it's written by C.L.R. James and narrated by moi, Karen Ware. Alright, so let's get into it. Oh, I think I am getting a little. Hold on, guys. And so we had stopped at, and his life still a blank page. So as I said, if you've been following my page on YouTube, you'd have seen where I stopped last week. So let's get right into the meat of the matter. It would be best to take the cheap room. So this is Haynes speaking to his assistant, his helper, Ella, and he's deciding what he wants to do. It would be best to take the cheap room. If he lost his job, what would he do? He wasn't trained for anything. The book business, such as it was in that small island, he knew inside out. Just a second. I was trying to move the fan, but it's a bit too high. It was too high. Alright, so let me read back over. It would be best to take the cheap room. If he lost his job, what would he do? He wasn't trained for anything. The book business, such as it was in that small island, he knew inside out. But if he should displease old Carrot, all his knowledge would go for nothing, and he would have to begin again elsewhere. The mortgage swallowed up a good portion of his small salary. There would be rent for the house, and there was a rent for 2 or 3 rooms in the slum quarter. But there were crates and constant repairs, and the rent was irregular. Ella was right. It would be better to live cheaply, for a time at least. As long as Ella was there, he would not suffer any inconvenience. And at the back of his mind, unformulated, but nevertheless a steadily growing influence, was the desire to make a break with all his past life. School, home, and the drowsy bookshop. His mother was no more than a memory, a tender memory, but nevertheless only a memory. His life was empty. He did not think these things out clearly, but he knew them as people are aware of things without putting them into words. The sea of life was beating at the walls which enclosed him. Nervously and full of self-distrust, he had been fighting against taking the plunge, but he would have to sometime. Better now. He looked around at the pleasant furniture, the mahogany sideboard with its spotless china and the silver pieces. He could barely see them, but he had lived with them so long that they were stamped on his mind. The silver he would keep, but the rest would go. Ella was right. He must move. He had promised his mother to keep the house, and he would keep it at whatever cost. He would marry someday and bring his bride home. But till that time, anywhere except staying there. He rose and turned on the lights. However heavy, the day has been so windy that the doors have been banging. I didn't realize, okay. That door just banged, but it's okay now. He rose and turned on the lights. "Bring my dinner, Ella," he said. And when she brought in the first dish, he smiled at her. "Where did you say that room was, Ella?" "2 streets from here, sir. Number 2 Minty Alley. It's a very short alley." "Well, we'll go there." "But you haven't seen the place, sir. I don't think you'll like it. There are a lot of people there, sir. Ordinary people. So much the better. I am sure I will like it. 2 Minty Alley. It sounds good. I shall go down and look at the room tomorrow." Chapter 2 now. Minty Alley was not 200 yards away, and the house was on which... Sorry, let me read that again. Minty Alley was not 200 yards away, and the house was one on which his glance must have rested. But it was only now, when he approached it as a prospective lodging house, that he took particular notice of it. Number 2 stood at a corner, far in from the street. He walked down the yard, mounted a few steps, knocked and waited. The yard was quite clean. So was the front of the house, though badly in need of a coat of paint. Through the open jalousies, he could see a neat little drawing room, center table, and I bet a lot of persons that may pause there. A lot of young people now don't. I bet wouldn't know what a drawing room is. But growing up, there's a particular room in the house that we call the drawing room. But like a young person now, I bet some of them don't know. Let me see. Through the. Gonna forgive me, list on you here. Through the open jalousies, he could see a neat little drawing room, center table, bentwood chairs, whatnots, and china ornaments. Among the pictures was one of Christ with a bleeding heart. And I know growing up, a lot of Jamaican homes had those pictures of who they say Christ is, with the heart and it and the blood coming out of it, the bleeding heart. A lot of Jamaicans home growing up had those pictures. Those homes always had that picture of Christ and the bleeding heart. Haynes knocked again, and then he heard a voice, a woman's voice. Maisie! Maisie! Somebody knocking. Go and see who it is. Don't keep the person waiting. But nobody came. The same voice spoke again, more sharply. But girl, you don't hear me? The bigger you grow, the lazier you're getting. Go at once. There was a sound of bare feet in the room behind the drawing room. The blind opened. A good-looking young face, presumably Maisie's, appeared and asked sourly, "Anybody there?" "Yes," said Haynes. "I want to see Mrs. Rose, the owner of this house, about a room she has to let." "Wait, please," said the young woman, and turned back inside. Tanty, is somebody come to see about the room?" "Who is it?" "I don't know." "Jesus, give me patience with this child." There were rapid footsteps and a slight scuffle. A short, stout woman came quickly to the door, opened it, and said, "Come in, Mr. Haynes. We know you. We see you passing up and down." "Yes," said Haynes. "And you are Mrs. Rose?" "I expect." "My servant told me you had a room here to let, and I have come to have a look at it." Yes, sir. "You must excuse my appearance. I make cakes for sale, you know, and I'm busy in the kitchen with them." She had no need to apologize for her appearance. She was a woman somewhere in the 40s, fat, yet with a firmness and a shapeliness of figure which prevented her from looking gross. Her face was a smooth light brown with a fine aquiline nose and well-cut firm lips. The strain of white ancestry responsible for the nose was not recent, for her hair was coarse and essentially negroid. Her apron was dirty, but the dress below was clean. "Will you follow me, sir?" She made a slight bow and turned and led the way, carrying herself erect with a mature grace and dignity, which Haynes thought assumed for the occasion, but which he learned to know later were natural to her. In the dining room they met Maisie, the same girl whose face had peeped through the blind, only now her hair was smoother, though not as light in color as the aunt. She also was smooth-skinned and brown. Haynes looked at her, but saw her smiling at him and turned his eyes away. "You want the key, Tanty?" she said. I don't wish anything, said Mrs. Rose, and descended 4 or 5 steps into the yard. The house was built in a simple style, square and containing 5 rooms, drawing room and dining room on one side and 3 bedrooms on the other. But at some time after it had been built, 2 rooms had been added to the original structure on the side opposite the kitchen, which was a separate building about 10 feet away. And in Jamaica, we have some old-time houses like that. And you know what I said to myself one of these days? Not giving away my idea, but I said, I want to do some photographs of these old Jamaican houses. I see a lot of them in Brownstown where I am. A lot of these houses are falling down, just wasting away. And I said, why do people the owners let these houses just rotten down like this? I mean, lovely houses, These old-time structured houses are very nice. So one of these days I'm going to do a video of these houses and put it on the page for you people to see. And I'm just wondering why people don't preserve these houses. You can see a lot of these houses in Spanish Town, Brownstown, going up to Alexandra Way, Westmoreland. A lot of these, and most of them are board houses, nice houses. But I guess after a time, people can't manage to afford to upkeep them, or people just figure, show them old, so they go to the modern thing. But nothing like the old time things. I love the old time stuff. Antique. I love antique stuff. You're not gonna find quality things like those now. Anyway, let's continue. This room is tenanted already, sir, said Miss Rose, pointing to the first, and this is yours. The room was small but clean, with 2 large windows. Haynes knew that he would take it, had indeed decided to do so from the time Ella had mentioned the place, but he did not say so at once. He stole a glance at the kitchen and saw a number of people. No one will disturb you here, Mr. Haynes. You'll be quite private, said Mrs. Rose. Any friend of yours you want to come and see you at any time? You will be able to have them. Hayes felt the blood in his face, but that decided him. You think it will suit you, sir? Yes, madam, I think it will. And the price is $2.50? Yes, $2.50. Well, I'll pay you now and come on the 1st. Thank you. But if you want to move in now, you can, Mr. Haynes. That will be all right. That would suit Haynes very well. He would move at once. You are a bachelor, Mr. Haynes? Yes. Well, if you like, we can board you, All your meals, clothes, washing, you can get everything done here. She smiled at him hopefully. Thank you very much, Mrs. Rose, but Ella, my servant, is in charge of everything. She washes the clothes, cooks all my meals, and so on. I could not think of carrying on without Ella. She has been with me so long and understands me so well. I only thought as you were giving up house, you wouldn't keep a servant. That's why I asked. But if I do make a change, of course, I'll board with you, said Haynes. Thank you, said Mrs. Rose, smiling happily. At the front door, she paused. I hope you'll be comfortable with us, sir, she said. I'm sure I will be, madame, replied Haynes. He stood for a second, uncertainly, and then, quite spontaneously, offered her his hand. She took it with a little start of surprise and looked at him so kindly and with such a gratified smile that he could see he had made a good impression on his future landlady. So I'm going to pause there. For this first video, and then I'm gonna come back with part 2 because I have to be uploading the video. So I'm gonna stop here and then come back with chapter 3. Alright guys, so let me pause. Let me stop here.